All right. Let's get this shirt out. And the phone. So what we're going to do, I'm sure people are going to be popping in the next few minutes, but for the replay, hey, Jack. Wow, first one in. You're going to hear background noise. You're going to hear the furnace going because it is freezing here tonight. It's supposed to be down to the low teens Fahrenheit. You got to go in like 5 minutes, but you're here. Yeah. I don't plan on doing a lot of building tonight. I'm just going to give an update because we haven't done this for a couple of days and there's been a few developments. So what I'm going to do, let me, hang on, people get upset when I don't share this on social media. So let me just do a few cut and paste here real quick and make sure that everyone's aware of it. So let me go here. Hello, David. Hello, Caleb. Wow, got some peoples here. You guys give me just a second here. I'm going to post this on the FolgerTech and We're Nerdy's cool page. And we'll chat about what I got going on. Because as you can see, I moved the camera a little bit. I cleared off some junk off the corner here so that we could actually have some room to talk and have the printer on there. That and all these monitors take up a lot of space. And come on. There's been some more bad news. The laptop I ordered from Lenovo at the beginning of November is back ordered. So I won't get that until after Christmas. So my hopes of getting my new laptop here, which would make this a whole lot faster, has been derailed. So be it. So yeah, I shouldn't see that until December 28th is what the latest information I got on that. So, all right, so let me pardon this slow little laptop here. Let me cut and paste this over here to a couple of the Facebook groups that will care. Come on. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my goodness. If I get another pop-up, that'd be really cool. So yeah, I got all the cameras going. As you can see, the printer is looking pretty good, just the way we left it last time. If you have or familiar with the FT-5, you may recognize a few pieces that have shown up over the last couple days, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Let me go ahead and here we go. .25 Fahrenheit. Yeah, well, you're actually warmer than we are. It's supposed to get down to the teens tonight. Okay. And come on. Here we go. I'm typing and there's nothing showing up. Here it goes. Okay. I love being an IT guy with a slow computer. It really tests my patience. And let me just post that one here. So what do we got for people? We got 6 viewers. This is kind of cool. Hello, guys. I'm just pasting this to 2 more locations. And dun, dun, dun. Got the decaf coffee. I know, decaf coffee, right? That's like alcohol-free beer. Oh, come on, Facebook. Give me a break. There's that one. Seems like just yesterday the computers were way faster than the software, but now the software has found a way of making the fast computers crawl to their knees. We live in an era where the computers have 32 gigs or more of memory. We have either Duo, 4 cores, or 6 cores, and all it takes is Google Chrome to bring you to a complete halt. I need to get rid of Chrome again and get Firefox back on here. Okay, one last cut and paste, and we're off to the races. Oh, where's my phone? So who do we have to? Minnesota Maker, hello. Now refresh me. Where is everyone from? David, you're in Florida. So David is officially the guy that we won't like tonight because he lives someplace where you can walk around in shorts and not freeze. So David, you have the coveted title of "We're all envious of you." Congratulations. You get to be that guy. By the way, if you do have a spare bedroom that has 3D printers, I would like to speak to you. Okay, and there we go. Okay, I think I have let everyone know about this that I needed to let know. I got the speaker, I think, turned off. Good. All right. First and foremost, I think I know everybody here, but if this is your first time here, my name is Paul. This is my channel where nerdy is cool. As you can see in the background and foreground, I'm kind of into 3D printing, got 3D printers galore. I spent the weekend freezing in my Stormtrooper armor. We participated in a holiday parade, and one of the floats is for a friend of mine. He's doing it at Comic-Con in the summer, and he asked if we would join the parade in our Stormtrooper armor. And it's difficult to stand around in that armor, much less march. And since I built the suit, I lost weight, but I've also been weightlifting for 6 months. So I had a hard time getting the armor over my biceps. So my arms were kind of like C-3PO doing this whole thing. So it was a good time. I wish it wasn't 29 degrees out when we marched, but so be it. So that was my weekend. I haven't done a thing to the printer really since the last time we streamed. I did put on extra warm thermals. I see the questions coming across right now asking, what kind of idiot wouldn't dress warmly in the Stormtrooper suit? Usually, especially for indoors or regular weather, the Stormtrooper suit is black Under Armour. Ideally, you want stuff that doesn't have any kind of logos or whatever. And what we did is we bought 2 pairs of thermal winter blend Under Armour, and so basically I had 3 of those layers on under the Stormtrooper suit, and that didn't help. I think Under Armour had in mind people that actually run and exercise in this stuff and generate body heat, and thus it traps it back in. If you're standing around for an hour and a half waiting for the parade to start, it didn't do much. It felt like one t-shirt. So yeah, that was my weekend. Now, I did have some conversations with John Folger about the FT-i3. I also talked to Chris Soros, who wrote the documentation, and we covered this a little bit the last time we were live streaming. And the things that we were talking about was, I can't remember, maybe it was Ben that brought it up, but the power supply, we were looking at the power that it produces as far as amperage, and it seemed to be a bit on the low side as far as we were concerned. The other thing is that this printer is designed to have the power plug directly wire into the power supply. And the only way to turn the printer off and on is by unplugging that cord. I mean, I suppose you could be fancy, put on a surge suppressor and turn that off and on. But I don't like that. None of my printers, not even that POS G-Tech thing, they all have power switches. So I had asked him, I said, well, what would be your suggestion so that if I could, make the FT-i3 work a lot like the FT-5 does. I mean, that has, the power plug right here, and it's wired to the power supply. And he said, well, I can send you one, and I can send you a better power supply, but you're going to have to create a way to get these guys to plug and fit into the back of the structure. So what we have, just to give you an idea, and let me kick off camera number, I got too many cameras over here. So, and I have an extension cord on this camera now, so it's a little less wonky to carry around. Dun, dun, dun. But as you can see, as you can now, the power supply is pretty much tucked under there. So getting a switch and plug in the whole bit is going to be a little bit interesting. Let me tip this down here. Let me keep that there for a moment. Now, I'm back in my chair. Let me show you something else. So one of the things that he had mentioned and showed me is a couple of guys that have A-nets. They have upgraded their machines, and they have printed out, and he gave me the STL, actually even the link to Thingiverse. So I printed this guy out, and he recommended flame retardant filament. Obviously, anything that's going to be electrical, something like this would not be ideal. So I could put this in temporarily, or if I really wanted to be fancy, I could go to my friend's place who has a CNC machine, and we could kind of flatten this out, measure it, maybe 1/8 inch aluminum, fold it up, and do something. So the thought is, if you're still wondering where I'm going with this, the thought would be, with the new power supply that he has sent me, dun, 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 we'd remove the old one, we'd put this new guy in, and this new one is a DC output of 24 volt, 21 amps, which is a bit of an upgrade from that one. So what we would need to do is this fella somehow would attach to the back here, and I'm still trying to figure out, there is a way this does actually line up on the back. So technically, and then what we could do is we could, take this fella, and this snaps right in, and then wire it all up. And of course, I have this upside down because the fan, of course, would be down. Well, you know what? This makes it more interesting this way, because if the fan is down, this is not going to go very far because the lip of this is going to make contact, and that would be bad. So this design is probably out. So what that does is that means I'm kind of left inventing the wheel here, trying to figure out a better way to do this, just because I want to have a plug and a switch. And then, of course, I've got my neutral, negative, and ground for my AC, which I'm not crazy about playing with that stuff, but I did it with the FT-5, and I have the schematic on what to do. So power-wise, that's where I'm kind of stuck at the moment. I need to figure out a way getting this new power supply in there is no big deal. We just bolt it in. But what I need to figure out is a good way to route the power plug and switch to the back of the unit or to the side of the unit. I don't know. So I've only just begun looking for ways of how to do this. Like I said, if you look at the back of that, let me see if I can go back here to the external view. So you can see how far tucked in that is. Even if I could use this, it's still going to be way back here. So I don't know. Part of me is thinking, maybe if I can CNC, something out of aluminum and hang it by 2020s back here. I mean, this isn't really going to be in the way of too much. I mean, these wires would be tucked out, but I mean, if I could, I just want to make it clean. It wasn't my intent to upgrade this or redesign anything. It struck me as really, really odd during the build that this would just simply wire directly into it. Are you good at Fusion 360? I literally am not. I am one of those people that I would love to learn CAD. It's like some people want to learn French, a foreign language. It's just not one of those things I am good at. But I would certainly like to find a way to make this work so it's safe and doesn't intrude in the way of anything. I mean, I was thinking about doing even something on the side, but I want to be real careful how long these wires are routed. And again, guys, let me know in the chat buffer if this makes sense, if you guys understand, or if you follow the gist of what I'm doing. Because I know some people would be just look the way they said to do it and just plug it and unplug it. But I really like the idea of having that switch right there. It didn't come with a fuse. I had to go all over town to find a 4-amp fuse. I could find 3, I could find 5, but I couldn't find 4, which is what the gentleman that does support at FolgerTech had recommended. So the good news is I've been sent new stuff. I got an upgraded power supply. He kindly sent me this, the same switch that's used on the FT-5. But I just need to find a way to get that to go somehow, onto the printer in a way that would be safe. So that's one point I'm stuck at. The other thing that was kind of cool is he did send me a nice little roll of Captain tape. So I could do it tonight. We're all set to go ahead and attach the thermoresistor and complete that step to the bed. I just saw your message pop up. Can you comp to the FT-i3? Well, it's basically the same stuff, except that my FT-i3 is an R1, so that's using a 12 volt, and this is 24 volt. So what I could do, I mean, I don't know. That's why I wanted to kind of throw this out here to the group, because you guys have had a lot of really good suggestions during the build here. So I don't know how to verbose it very well, as I struggle with my words. The FT-i3 does it in a very different way. Let me go ahead and display that over here when we look at the instructions on the FT-i3. What page am I on? We're several steps away. Sorry about that. Let me scroll. So the FT-i3 right here has part of the electronics bag right here is where this piece mounts into. Maybe I should go back a page here. So, and unfortunately you can't, and this was my grief with the documentation on the FT-i3 build, was that these pictures are very low resolution, so you really can't blow them up. But anyway, that's an old complaint. Let's not go there. So anyway, this is the way it works with the FT-i3. You have the electronics board right here. You have the contacts, and then of course everything powers the board. And then way over here in the side is where the electrical plug works. And there it goes. And there it is off on the corner. And then it's the same thing on the other side with that mount. And this right here, this is a picture I wanted to show you guys. Actually, this will be really good. So this gives you an idea, basically, of the connector that we have. And this is the, you try, David has a couple good ideas. No, I don't know who that is, Zine Park or Spark. No, I haven't heard of that. You guys have some good ideas tonight. I'm glad I did this. I came home from the gym absolutely beaten, thought, I'm too tired to do this. Then I sat down, and after I recovered, I was like, well, let's do a live stream. Let's talk to the guys. Let's see what they think. So anyway, what we're doing is essentially this is all the same stuff from the FT-i3 to the FT-i3. All these same electronics. The only thing with the i3 is we don't have this stuff here. So what we're doing, what I'm doing is we're working on adding this back in as part of the FT-i3, because I like the idea of having the power switch. The other thing that I could do, let me go back to my other view here. I got my mouse going everywhere here. Dun, dun, dun. I wish I could probably go to the laptop view even easier. So a couple of things that I could do, and I could take this, and a good buddy of mine is really good with CAD. And what we could do is, he uses, what the hell's the program name? Don't get old, you lose your mind. Oh, VCarve Pro, that's what we use. And that's what I use to CNC a lot of my R2D2 parts. So I have a bunch of 1/8" aluminum sitting at a shop. So I guess what I could do is I could maybe make a small plate and have this in there, drill out the holes, drill and tap, so it can thread in there. And I guess the only big question I would have is, and if we look at the back of the printer again, is just figuring out, the height. Do I want to put it, because what we could do is I could put 2 holes on that plate, and it would be like a lot of pieces on this frame. It would just hang there, and with T-nuts, and that would hold it in place. Because essentially that's all I need. I mean, I can make longer wires. It just won't be the prettiest thing. So that's my thought. If you guys think I'm crazy, well, you can let me know. So that's my thought as far as where I'm at on how I want to do this at this point. I know we could, I mean, I'm not comfortable with having the printer either, plugged in or not plugged in. That kind of makes it a hassle to put it with my other printers that all do have power switches. So yeah, what do you guys think? Maybe I will catch something up. I forgot that Fred has VCarve Pro, and it'd be really cool to bounce that off of him, and we could take some measurements off this connector. Make I don't know, how big is that back here? Dun dun dun. I mean, it doesn't have to be big. I mean, gosh, it looks like based on this, jeepers, we could probably get away with like a 3" by 3" plate. Yeah. But Jack, you can't go. You're supposed to help me solve this problem. Jack, thanks for being here. Nice to see you again. Yeah, Caleb, yeah. And the thing is that, I know, I hope that laptop shows up too. The chat's working pretty good tonight. This is great. So I think maybe that's what I'm going to wind up doing. I think what I'll do is we'll make a plate with a little bit of a, we'll caliper this opening here. My caliper is somewhere back here. Because I don't think we're talking like crazy huge distances either. All right, let's go inches. Because I don't think this guy's all that big at all. Yeah, see, this isn't even 2 inches. 1.84. So, and the outside is, so this right here is 2.28. So yeah, so if I wind up with a, let's get this open up to, so this is 3 inches. So if I wind up with a 3" by 3", that would be centered up pretty good. I can cut out 2 holes, or if I want to be crazy, 3, just to space it out. And we would use that as a mount. Of course, it won't be ACM. It won't be as pretty as the rest of the stuff that John has given us. But I think that would work good. Mock one up using cardboard. Yeah, that's a good idea. Goodness gracious, I got all kinds of cardboard over here. I know that. All right, Caleb, hope that was fast enough for you. All right, so what is the size of this fella? All right. So surprisingly, this is 3.28 inches. That's fine. And let's bring you in right there. Nice while cardboard, so you can just press on it. All right, and I now have a nice line on my table. But and then what I could do, well, I thought I had a Sharpie somewhere. I went, whoa, wow, that's strong. Whee. I'm just going to float here for a minute. All right. And the holes are here and here. Okay, so that's my mocked up cardboard one. And pardon the roughness. This is kind of fun though. Have a live stream here, bounce ideas off of people. Watch me cut my finger off. And come on. the way through. There we go. Okay, so I guess using a fat magic marker probably didn't help me out a whole lot here, but it gave me an idea. And then let's say said piece were to attach right here. I mean, I could put it, if I put it directly behind the power supply, I'm afraid I'd be pinching off some wires here that are pretty taut. So I could move it over a little bit. And it looks like in order for that switch to work, see, you had a good idea making this here because the top of the switch here would make contact. Yep. So the top part would have to be taller. Good idea. You guys are fun. Okay, so if you're wondering what the hell we're talking about, let me go over here real quick. So we've made this little template, and because I used a fat marker, it's not a very snug fit. But what we learned is that, thanks to Caleb's idea about making a quick mock-up, we learned that if I'm going to make one like this, there should be more material up top than on the bottom. So I could thin this out, because otherwise, when you go to hang this, this is going to make contact with the frame. So we want this to sit down a little bit lower, so thus we want more material up top. How's that for thinking out loud? Boy, I'm just full of dust and cat hair. How the hell? So that gives me hope. So I think I have a homework assignment to do tomorrow, and I wish I had some of his ACM. It'd be really cool if I could make it all matched up, but that's fine if I can't. So I'm impressed that we came up with an idea that would probably fit for all that. And then I wish I could find, if you've ever taken a power cord and tried to strip the insulation out to get these guys, not a fun experience, because you're always running the razor blade down that black sheath. And as I learned, you can, oh, actually, we're on camera. So this was the dumb thing I did yesterday to my thumb, trying to, going like this with the razor blade, trying to get these guys out of the black casing. Not my best moment. So so that's where we're at with the printer build so far. There's a couple other things that I have some thoughts on. The electronics, I think they're going to be fine. I'm really tempted on a few things I want to try. I want to see how this print head does. I want to see how this extruder does. I have some new stuff arriving here shortly for other videos that I'm doing. I have a CNC extruder showing up. I'm going to be installing that on my CR10S. I have another micro Swiss on the way for my CR10, which I still have to upgrade. And I still have some other parts and pieces for the TiVo Tornado waiting to show up. And holy crap, guys, would you believe this? Someone was kind enough to send me a message first thing Saturday morning and said, Matt from 713 Maker says he has stuff in stock. I checked my emails. I'm on that first waiting list. I'm on the waiting list that's on his website where you pick things that you want and notify me when they're not off back order. I had nothing from there. But I took Jim's advice. I went on the website, and sure enough, he actually had the 713 Maker FT-i3 bed in stock, and he had the bed heater in stock. So I paid for those suckers, and I can't wait to see them. So when those guys show up, we can take apart the FT-i3 and do some upgrades to that machine, because the melamine bed on that thing has been awful. I also want to replace the upper plates, but what I have will work. If I have to, maybe I'll CNC my own. I'm hoping he'll have them in stock soon, but we'll see. So that's what's going on. So the long and short of it is we're not doing a whole lot of building tonight because I really want to get this electronics thing resolved. And we'll take it from there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll definitely talk to my buddy tomorrow and say, hey, let's fire up the laptop here and let's design something. Caleb, kudos to you. I think you definitely have the right idea as far as making a cardboard cutout. I think if I stick to the original design and just make this thing sit lower, I think that's going to work really, really well. And we'll find out. What I'll do is I'll make it, I'll size it up, and we'll do a live stream. And together we can get it wired up with the new power supply. And well, with any luck, not only will it look good, but it'll be functional. Because again, if you're just joining, I'm sorry, we're 30 minutes in, and I meant to say hello to the new people. If you're just tuning in, hi, my name's Paul. We're Nerdy is Cool. We've been doing the FolgerTech FT-i3 Mega build, and I'm at the point where we're doing the electronics, and the stock electronics, I don't like. The way that the printer is powered is the power cord, you cut off the end, you wire it to the power supply, and the way you turn the printer off and on is by unplugging it or plugging it back in. And I'm sorry, I got 6 other printers and we don't do it that way. So with some good conversations with John Folger, I had asked, hey, can we get the parts so we can make it work just like the FT5 does? Have the power connector and wire it in that way. And he was gracious enough to send the parts. Now, because we're kind of going down our own path here, and thankfully with the people who are here in the chat, I think a couple have left already, gave me some really good ideas as to making a small piece out of aluminum. We'll CNC this, we'll make the opening, we'll have it so that this sits in the back of the printer, and we'll have the aluminum body, so we're not dealing with 3D printed stuff. I'd much rather deal with aluminum because last I knew aluminum won't burn. Well, technically it will at very high temperature, but let's not go there. So then what we'll do is we'll build a switch mount for this printer so that it will work the way I want it to work. And then once that step is done, we will go back a few steps and we'll get the bed attached to this thing. We still got to do the, he was kind enough to send the captain tape so we can put the thermistor on the bottom of the bed and off we go. And the next couple of steps will be fun because then it's going to be firmware and going through all the motions of seeing how the motors all work. Hopefully we didn't reverse anything along the way. If we did, it'll be a fun adventure to fix. So that is where I'm at on the build tonight. Does anyone have any questions? You guys have had some really good feedback. I'm pausing to make sure I haven't missed anything here. I'm just looking through the scroll. David, one of my favorite vendors is Printed Solid, and he doesn't have any. He didn't have any he could really recommend either, so that's relatively new. Now, I can't remember. Oh, no, that's not true. I can find the guy. He does a lot of stuff with 3D Maker. I'm sorry, he does a lot of stuff with a 3D printing nerd. Something props. What is his name? Why can't I remember his name? But he had done a lot of work on his ANET, and they came across a lot of stuff that needed to be repaired, and he came up with this design. Punish props. There we go. And let me show you exactly what I got on the screen over here. And I got too many monitors going here. So what he did is he came up with this for the, I want to say he has an ANET A8. So he wanted to have a safety cover. Now, in the ANET, of course, that power supply mounts vertically. And, well, I don't know if ours could do that or not. But rather than, we're already reinventing the wheel a little bit. But this was a nice design, and it printed really, really well. But my only, like I said, in this case, it's just a cover. Whereas it's going to be a mount for the switch and stuff like that. You just want to be, you want to be super safe just in case the worst happens. And to his credit, John Folger was very much into saying the same thing. I would definitely recommend getting, some heat resistant or fire retardant stuff. And here it is. And then we get the go back over here real quick. So I think that's going to be a good idea. I'm trying to find my mouse because I have 3 monitors running and I can't find it. Here I am. So I think the stuff that I found in a couple of Google searches was heat-resistant ABS or stuff like that. And I haven't had a whole lot of fun with ABS, so it's not one of my favorite things. But certainly, I think with the suggestion that we kind of talked through, with you and Caleb and others, I think the plate idea is a good one. Because basically we're just talking a 3-inch by 3-inch piece of aluminum, drilling some holes for the T-nuts and the screws, and then the attachment for the mount itself. Yeah, I'm curious. Well, that's kind of like I said, I had done some reading on it, and I know they make some stuff that they make some pretty exotic materials, but a couple of things went through my mind when I was looking through them. Am I going to have to? Obviously, I want to ventilate the entire basement. Well, all that stuff is printing. I'm sure that stuff has some pretty nasty smells to it, just like ABS. But what's cool is about the idea that we discussed, making that mounting plate for the switch and the power cord. I think that's going to be way easier. Yeah, no, wood filament. Yeah, really. Yeah, maybe we'll just use gunpowder there and just see how long it takes, right? So, well, that's awesome. You know what? When I started this video, I was looking at this and going, well, maybe this will work. And then the minute I flipped that power supply around and realized, no, that's not going to work. They can't mount to each other and then have that switch there because they're going to make contact. So that's no good. So I went from, how the hell am I going to do this to, well, you guys helped talk me through a solution. So kudos to you guys. Very cool. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this up tonight. As always, I'm going to say thank you for watching. If you guys have any suggestions, by all means, please share them. For those of you watching on the replay, love to hear your comments and suggestions in the comment section below. If you're not already a subscriber, I know you guys in the chat all are because you got the notification and so am me. But Caleb just chimed in with you should cut a switch size hole in the plastic. Well, actually, this, to his credit, I mean, this does fit. I mean, it fits perfect. It's just that it's designed to mount on the back of this right here. And because the way the printer, remember, we have the fan on this side, okay? So the fan is down. So this makes contact with all this stuff right here, okay? So if it was vertical, okay, you get this clean opening over here. So sure, you could slide that right up there and she fits nice and pretty and she lines up with the holes in the power supply. But unfortunately, we're not dealing with a vertical, situation. So we will have to adapt. And you guys are giving me some good stuff to think about, so that's cool. I got stuff falling everywhere. I mean the other size. Well, but the problem is that this will not fit. The power supply is so deep under the printer, this isn't long enough. Now I could remix this and make it longer, but again, we still have the same problem we were talking about. We're still dealing with a plastic piece versus, what you suggested was an aluminum plate, which I think will work a whole lot better. I'm just watching the buffer to see your comments. Dun, dun, dun. So anyway, it's 9:30. I told myself I was going to get to bed early tonight because I'm coming down with a cold. I know I am. I went over to go help my dad. He was coughing and sneezing and wheezing. And I thought, I won't catch that. And I've been dragging butt all day. So I think I'm getting it. So I'm going to wrap this up right now. I started to wrap up a moment ago, but you had a good idea, and I wanted to make sure I acknowledge that. So thanks for watching. Those watching on the replay, as I mentioned, feel free to chime in below. If you're not a subscriber, become one. And yes, like everyone else on YouTube, I have a Patreon, patreon.com/where nerdy is cool. And I got the wonky little tip jar over here. So if you want to support my channel, please feel free to do so. I wish you guys a good night. Thank you. I'm glad we could, do this bunch of brains here together and come up with something. You guys are awesome. Big kudos. You guys definitely helped me out. And what I'll do is keep an eye on the Facebook page, facebook.com/where nerdy is cool, and Instagram. And what I'll do is I'll post pictures of the design and milling it, and then of course test fitting. And when it's time to install it, I'll kick on the live stream again so you guys are part of the action. All right? Have a good night. Thanks for everything, guys. You're the best. And remember, this is where nerdy is cool. See ya.